episode number 311 of the Wholesome Fertility Podcast. Welcome to the Wholesome Fertility Podcast. Today I'm going to be talking about something that I have not talked about yet, but it is an important topic because I've had a lot of people in my office come in and ask me about the specific topic, and a lot of times it is very important when it comes to fertility because people often don't realize that there are certain things that can actually be harming your fertility. So stay tuned because you're not going to want to miss this. Welcome to the Wholesome Fertility Podcast. I'm Michelle, a fertility acupuncturist here to provide you with resources on how to create a wholesome approach to your fertility journey. So today I'm going to be talking about lubricants. This is actually a very common thing that people use lubricants and they don't realize that the majority of lubricants are actually not great for sperm. They're either toxic for sperm or they can impact how the sperm travels and slow down the traveling and fertilization of the egg. So when it comes to fertility, it's a completely different ballgame, and it's really important to choose lubricants, if necessary, that are sperm friendly. So today I will be talking all about that. So first of all, I wanted to start out by talking about why women can be dry, and sometimes it really is a cervical mucus thing. And where it comes to cervical mucus, there are definitely things that you can do to impact cervical mucus naturally, but not just cervical mucus. It's also when taking certain fertility medications such as Clomid or Letrozole. Those two medications can impact vaginal dryness as well. And this can be extremely frustrating when people are trying to conceive and women are having to have the difficulty and discomfort of vaginal dryness and at the same time also timed intercourse. So it kind of puts a whole other challenge to the whole challenging situation to begin with. So according to Fertility and Sterility, vaginal dryness has actually been reported in about at least 46% of all reproductive aged women, which is actually really high considering. So this is really important because when it comes to baby making, it's really important that a woman feels comfortable, because if a woman is dry, it can cause more irritation. It can even cause bleeding. And we don't want that, because when that's the case, then you're feeling more stress in really trying to conceive. So many times people will want to find lubricants, and they'll find things that are over the counter or certain products that they don't realize are actually harming the sperm. So they're using this, and I've had people come in and say that they've dealt with the discomforts of vaginal dryness and didn't really realize, but for the whole time they've been trying, and sometimes it's close to a year, they've been using lubricants that are not necessarily great for the sperm and didn't even realize it. So this is why I find it so important in the podcast and in general to give information to people, because many times nobody really tells you this stuff. You really think that, okay, what's the big deal? It shouldn't make a difference, but it really does. And the same thing also with figuring out the fertile window. All of these things are typically not things that you learn, not in school, and oftentimes not even at the doctor's office. So it is really important to understand your body and understand really like how to optimize your fertile window and how to optimize your chances of conceiving, and what those certain things are that can impact that process. So like mentioned before, a lot of these lubricants can impact sperm movement and impact how sperm is able to fertilize. And this can obviously be an issue because the sperm needs something that's similar to the cervical mucus, which is why the cervical mucus is so important, because it protects the sperm, but it also is created in a beautiful way to allow the sperm to move as fast as possible and most efficiently so that it is able to get to the egg and fertilize for conception. Another thing that you want to look at is pH levels, and if there's any chemicals in the lubricants that are harmful to sperm. So ideally, you really want your own body's natural lubricant, which is cervical mucus. And there are a couple of things that you can do to improve that. And then I'll go over some other alternatives if that is not working. But really what you want to do is increase your, in Chinese medicine speak, yin. And estrogen is a really important hormone in that process during the follicular phase that leads up to ovulation, because estrogen is a very yin hormone. Yin is an aspect of the yin and yang that is more moist, more cooling, more feminine. So we want to bring in more moisture, and we want to make sure that the body holds in that moisture. So there are definitely things that you can do to improve that. And the first thing, and it's the most obvious thing, and I've seen it be the single-handedly, like the easiest way for people to improve cervical mucus, is hydration. You would be shocked at how important it is to just hydrate, because cervical mucus is majority is water. It really consists of water. And so if somebody's dehydrated, and I've had a lot of people in the healthcare industry that come in as patients, they just say they don't have time to drink. And I really push them on this, because eventually they can actually shift that. It's just easier not to drink. So it's not that you can't drink. It's just that it tends to be easier, and then it becomes a bad habit. So a lot of these people that are nurses, a lot of people that are dentists, that are in the healthcare field, don't really feel like they have an option. I work with them on that, and they do change that. So it is possible. Anything is possible. It's just a matter of putting a little more effort to get in the habit, or just have water with you to just ensure that you're having it. And also having water in the morning. Listen, it might be a little inconvenient to have to go to the bathroom a couple of times extra, but it is really important, and it really can impact your cervical mucus in a huge way. And I've had people that have noticed vaginal dryness, and that they've also had many times where they were not seeing the same kind of cervical mucus that they used to see when they were younger. And all they did was increase the hydration, and that within a couple of months really shifted things, and they started to see it. They actually saw when they wiped that they had more cervical mucus and more like egg white consistency on the peak days. So that is actually a very easy way to do this. And as a rule of thumb, you want to take whatever your weight is in pounds, take that number, divide that in half, and that amount in ounces is what you want, to drink every day. So say you're 120 pounds. So divide that by half, that's 60. So you take 60 ounces per day is the rule of thumb of water. And ideally you have that in containers that are not plastic, so either glass or stainless steel. And then also make sure to filter that water. So, just kind of a side note, I always talk about that with my patients. So that's really, really important, is to increase hydration. And part of hydration also is not just water, is from time to time to make sure that you're getting electrolytes as well. You also want healthy carbohydrates. So carbohydrates can also help, and carbs can help the yin aspect of our body. So it helps your body absorb and keep itself hydrated so that you're able to retain a little bit more water, because that water is important to retain in order to hydrate your body in many different ways, including cervical mucus. Another really important vitamin that impacts cervical mucus is actually vitamin C. And you can also increase citrus fruits in your diet. This is something that has been shown to improve cervical mucus. So these are things that you want to do naturally. Ideally, if you could do things naturally, then you're using your own body's natural lubricant, which is optimized for sperm health and to protect sperm and to help the chances of conception. So ideally, you want to try to get it where your body's doing this. Another important antioxidant is vitamin E as well, and that can help regulate estrogen in your body. And you also want to get foods that are rich in omega-3s. Omega-3 fatty acids are really great for cervical mucus. And if you think about it, just oils in general, healthy oils. So things like coconut oil that you're taking internally. I know some people use it physically, like as lubricant. I'm not a huge fan, but take oils internally, because when you're increasing those oils, which are very yin substances, you're also improving your own body's ability to moisten itself. And you can also get those oils through nuts and seeds, which are very rich in what we call in Chinese medicine Jing. Jing is really fertile essence. It's really essence of the body. And if you think about seeds or nuts, they're basically seeds ready to sprout, which is ultimately like what egg and sperm are. So they're fertile. They're fertile by nature, and they have everything that they need and all the resources within the seed in order to fertilize and become fertile. So you want things in nature to borrow from so that it improves your own ability to fertilize as well, which of course is conception. So here are things to consider if you were to buy fertility-friendly lubricants. So you want to find something that's water-based so that it doesn't decrease sperm motility, because that would be the most similar consistency to natural cervical mucus. You also want lubricants that are free from parabens, fragrances, or any kind of chemicals, and ultimately to be the closest mimicking of natural cervical mucus. And here are some brands that are the most fertility friendly. And the first one is Pre-Seed Fertility Lubricant. You'll see that very often. It's available on Amazon, many different places. And then also Good Clean Love Biogenesis Fertility Lubricant. Another one is Conceive Plus Fertility Lubricant. And there's also Nautilus the Lubricant. And there are many different ones that you'll see. You'll also see Lola Fertility Friendly Lube, Penchant Organic. So these are things that you want to definitely look up and make sure that it says fertility friendly. And I always recommend just do your own research and really look into it. Look at the reviews and find what you think is best for you. But ultimately, like I said before, the best thing that you can do is try to get your own natural lubricants going, especially during the fertile window if you have that a little bit more then. And I also recommend having sex outside of the fertile window. I often recommend that. And in that case, you don't have to worry quite as much. I still would use natural ones though, personally, because also when your body receives the sperm outside of the fertile window, then it will lower its immunity so that you are able to receive the sperm, because it's considered like an invader through the body. So you're able to really lower the immune system, which typically would happen in the second part of the menstrual cycle, which is the luteal phase, so that you're able to receive the sperm. So the more access your body has, or the more interaction it has with the sperm, even if it's outside of the fertile window into the luteal phase, the more it becomes open to receiving it. And another plus for that is just really being able to connect outside of the fertile window so that there's no timing on it, and it really is something that you can put towards your relationship with your partner so you can have that connection. And ultimately, that is such an important part of the whole process, because I know so many people tell me and express how difficult it is to have to put the pressure of timing and when they could do it. And when you open it up to more of a larger window outside of it, there's less added pressure and there's more time for connection. And as I mentioned this in my book, The Way of Fertility, which I highly recommend you check out, because a lot of the things that I talk about are all bundled up in there, described perfectly, because I repeat myself a lot, and this is one of the reasons I wrote the book, is because I wanted to put all of my ideas and thoughts and all of my findings and lots of the information that I got from ancient wisdom and really the basis of Chinese medicine into a book where you can find it with exercises. But I talk about the connection between the partners and really having that connection, because when you do have that connection and you really feel turned on, you will naturally also produce more natural lubricant. So those are natural processes of the body, but it all starts with the mind. So a lot of it really starts psychologically, and it's about connecting, opening the heart. So I talk a lot about that in the book. You can look at the episode notes to find out more on how to get that. And I will also list these fertility-friendly lubricants that I mention in the episode notes. And you can always reach out to me on Instagram. I'm always there. And my handle is at The Wholesome Lotus Fertility. If you have any questions, you want to reach out, you can find me there. So thank you so much for tuning in today, and I hope you have a beautiful day. So that concludes today's episode. You can find all of the links mentioned on the episode notes. If you're enjoying these episodes, please take a moment to share and leave a review. Reviews mean everything to podcasters, and I really enjoy hearing from my listeners. You can also find me on my website at www.thewholesomelotus.com or email me at info@thewholesomelotus.com. I love hearing from my listeners. If you're interested and want updates as well as a free ebook on my top 10 fertility boosting habits, you can visit my fertility page on www.thewholesomelotus.com. I thank you so much for listening in and hope that you have a beautiful day.